Hey guys, today we're going to work on our last lesson of chapter 3, which is just a problem solving lesson. So we're going to kind of apply what we've learned to problem solve, and our strategy is to make a model. Okay, so this is like what we've done in other chapters. We're just now working with our updated strategy. So open up to page 203 in your book to follow along. Alright, so Mark and Dan were in a walkathon to raise money for their basketball team. Mark walked 35 blocks. Dan walked 52 blocks. How many blocks did they walk in all? Okay, so remember our first strategy is to understand. Underline what we know, circle what we need to find. So we know that Mark walked 35 blocks. We know that Dan walked 52 blocks. And we are trying to figure out how many blocks they walked in all. Okay, so let's plan how we're going to solve the problem. Well, I know that I'm going to combine my numbers 52 and 35 because of the words in all. Okay, and so we can make a model by drawing a picture. So I'm going to make, and it talks about blocks, so we don't have base 10 blocks, so I'm just going to do a 10 frame for you, where we're going to do 5 10s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 1s, 3 10s for that 35, and 5 1s. Okay, and then you're going to count our 1s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We don't need to regroup or anything, so there's just a 7 in our 1s place. And then counting our 10s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, no need to regroup. We just have 8 10s, which is 80, so our answer is 87. Is the answer reasonable? Yes, because we have two two-digit numbers that if I have about 50, we can estimate to show if our answer is reasonable. So I could say 50 and 30 is 80. So it's pretty close. It's pretty easy to say that 52 and 35 would be 87 because I know that 50 and 30 is 80, so it's not anything too small or too big. Alright, so let's practice the strategy. Sarah, Mary, and Johnny are collecting shells at the beach. Sarah finds 45 shells. Johnny finds 23 shells. Mary finds 15 shells. How many shells do they find? Okay, so remember that first strategy is to underline what you know and circle what you need to find. So we know that Sarah finds 45 shells. Johnny finds 23 shells. I don't know why I keep doing that, so sorry. Mary finds 15 shells, and we're trying to figure out how many shells do they find. Okay, so how are we going to solve the problem? We're going to have to combine 3 numbers this time. So like our most recent chapter or lesson of adding 3 numbers together, we have 43, 23, and 15. And we know that we're adding together because it's saying how many do they find. So all of them together, how many do they find? Okay, so I'm also going to use, or this time you can make the model because that's our main strategy, or I want to just review adding this way. So I'm going to stack mine on top of each other, making sure my 1s and 10s are lined up. And I'm going to add it this way because I want to review this strategy as well. I see that I have 5 and 5, which makes 10. And then I just have to add the 3, so it's 13. So I have a 3 in the 1s place. And I have to regroup and carry a 1 to account for that 10. So then we have 1 plus 4 is 5. Plus 2 is 7. Plus 1 more is 8. So our answer is 83. And then, of course, to check if our answer is reasonable, think about estimating. So if we got rid of the ones we just said 40 plus 20 plus 10, well, 40 plus 20 is 60, plus 10 more is 70, and that's not that much bigger. It's nothing crazy, and of course we know that we had to regroup a 10, so that's where that became 80. So it makes sense. That's not an insane amount higher than we would think. If you had drawn a picture, you could have used your T-chart, of course, your 10s and your 1s, and done, of course, 4 10s for 45, 5 1s, 2 10s, 3 1s, 1 10, 5 1s, and of course you would have had to regroup. I'm going to go ahead and take these 2 5s just like I did in the problem and regroup and add it that way. Okay, so that's the make a model strategy, but I wanted to review this adding 3 or more 2-digit numbers as well. Oops. All right, I'm going to do this page with you as well. So Karina ran 15 blocks Tuesday. She ran 20 blocks on Wednesday. How many blocks did she run in all? Okay, so remember, applying the strategy, you can use what strategy works for you. You can do the making that model with that t-chart, or you can just add them using the standard algorithm. So I'm going to do that for this one. So we have 50 plus 20. So 5 plus 0 is 5. I don't need to regroup, so I'm not carrying anything. 1 plus 2 is 3, so 35 is my answer. Okay, we know we're adding because of this in here. How many should run in all? Wants to know all together. And of course, if we had underlined what we knew, sorry, I got a little ahead of myself. So we knew that she ran 15 blocks. We knew that she ran 20 blocks the next day. And then, of course, we were trying to figure out how many did she run in all. Okay. All right, let's build our brain a little bit. Bradley got 33 action figures for his birthday. He had 12 already. How many will he have if he buys 15 more? Okay, so this is a real stretch. So let's post or underline what we know. So we know he got 33 action figures for his birthday, and we know he had 12 already. And then it says, how many will he have if he buys 15 more? All right. So this kind of we know that we need to add all these together because we know that he had 33. He got 12 more, so that's adding 12 more. And then it says how many we have if he buys 15 more. So you can do this a couple different ways. You can, of course, use your picture. Just combine them all together. So you have 33 is 3 10s and 3 1s. 12 is 1 10, 2 1s. 15 is 1 10, 1 2 3, 4 5 1s. So then we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So we have to regroup all of this right on the edge to make another 10. So we're left with 0 1s. So then we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 10s. So then the answer would be 60. You could also do it where you add all three of the numbers at the same time. So you have 33, 12, and 15. I apologize, that's crooked. You have 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 5 is 10. So we put a 0 in the 1's place, carry the 1 because we had to regroup that 10. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 1 is 5, plus 1 more is 6. And then, of course, lastly, you could have done it where you added 33 and 12 first, found that it was 3 plus 2 is 5, 3 plus, and I didn't have to regroup, 3 plus 4, 3 plus 1 is 4, and then taken that number and added the 15 to that. Saw that 5 and 5 is 10, have to regroup, 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 1 more is 6. So there's lots of different ways that you can apply that to this strategy, and you can use whatever works best for you as long as you're showing your work and I can see how you solve the problem. All right, let's do this last one together. Nora made 16 points in her basketball game. Jenna made 24 points and Alicia made 22. No one else scored on their team. What was their final score? Okay, so we know that Nora made 16 points. We know that Jenna made 24 points and that Alicia made 22. And we know that no one else scored. So they're the only ones that scored. So then it says we want to figure out what was their final score. I'm going to use the strategy of just adding all three together because it takes up the least amount of space, if I'm being honest. So we have 16 plus 24 plus 22. Okay? I see that I have a pair of 10, pair that make 10, 6 and 4 make 10, and I have 10 plus 2 is 12, so I put a 2 in my 1's place to carry that 1 because we had to regroup that 10. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 2 is 4, I know that's a double fact, plus 2 more is 6, so the answer is 62. And of course, we solve that problem by setting it up and adding that strategy. And then we can again talk about if there were other ways you could have solved it. I could have done like I did up here, added 2 together, then added another one. Or I could have made a model, which is the main strategy of this lesson. Okay, so there's lots of different ways that you can solve these. I want you to practice to do this, 206, page 206, and again, you can choose your strategy to write a number sentence, find a pattern, make a model. So this is like your independent practice page. And then for homework, you don't have to do anything on this first page because it's just reviewing how you do it. So all you have to do is turn in this page 208 where you practice applying the strategy. Again, you can use whatever strategy you like in terms of a number sentence, a pattern, those things. And then, just a sec, and then you can, as long as you're showing your work, you're getting points for using the strategy and showing your work. Okay, so page 208 is what you're going to need to turn in. All right, guys, have a great day.